person as adult figures are concerned is this guy right here, because I am not necessarily working with them on a daily basis. We'll kind of go through that process and what it looks for our school district, but I'll let Mr. Sandhagen introduce himself.
I'm Sam Sandhagen. I'm with Keystone AEA, and they have me positioned with the Oelwein School District full-time. While serving the Oelwein School District and all of the technology needs that come in, I also get to co-teach with Nick the SWAT, or computer internship class. So we'll go ahead and talk about that some more today.
So this is our sweet logo that was created this year?
Last year.
Last year. So go through the history.
So our first class back in January of 2014, we started it late in the year. It was the second semester kind of trial. We had 16 students in there. And all we really did with the students was trainings in Google Ninja and trainings in our professional development platforms that we're using. So like Teaching Channel, it's been a few years ago, YouTube, Google Classroom. And so SWAT actually led professional development on those. We had these students do that. 2014 to 15, we dropped down to about 8 students. That is also the same year that students were wanting to go into a little bit more in depth into technology and learning a little bit more about it, rather than just doing Google Ninja trainings on Google products and leading professional development. So that's the year that we started kind of integrating it with the technology department. So they would go down there and kind of learn things from the technology support specialist that was there at the time. 2015 to 16, we had 3 seniors leave the prior year, so we dropped down to about 5 students. 2016 and 17, the second year that I was one of the people in charge of SWAT, we had 8 students. My goal was to try and double from the 5. We fell a little bit short, but at least we got more students in there to kind of continue the program. 2017, 2018, we now have 30 students this year. And it's because of the 8 that were ambassadors for the program, and a lot of people really became interested in what we were doing. We kind of reached out a little bit more to the student body in the high school.
So the awesome thing about Mr. Sandhagen is the fact that, so I've been a teacher at Oelwein for 10 years. I actually taught Mr. Sandhagen, and he is in that first class, correct me if I'm wrong, was in that first class. So as a high school student, he was in that class, and so if you look at the time frame, the skills he learned transferred very much into what he was passionate about, and now he's with the AEA working with our district. And so the cool thing is he has seen both sides of the spectrum, from a student to actually someone that is now working in the field, which is very valuable for our SWAT members currently, because it's very transferable now and they understand that. So it's really cool to see the progression. Also, if you know some person that's involved with the iTech, Carrie Hillman, works out of the Nevada School District. She was our tech coach. And then what happened, she left. We hired what was supposedly called a tech coach, became more of an instructional coach, and then we lost our tech coach, which I've heard a lot has happened, because it's like, well, you know, teachers don't really need tech coaches a whole lot, and what are we doing with that position or whatnot. So Carrie was implemented this to kind of start out to get these kids interested in it, and it's just really now we have it rolling where a lot of kids are really passionate about it. So that just kind of adds to, he's definitely seen both sides of how he brings a lot of knowledge to that group there.
This is everything I pretty much just went over, except in my second year working with SWAT, we became a self-servicing account through Apple, because we had over 1,000 active devices and you have to meet other criteria as well. What that means, though, is we had access to all of Apple's trainings. With those trainings, we were then able to start repairing our own laptops. So the first year that we had that available, that's what we started working on. Last year, just in Apple repairs alone, having students work on Apple repairs, we saved the school district pure profit, total savings, $35,000 by doing that. And not only did we save $35,000, but we gave 8 students a great opportunity that was then able to be transferred into their future careers in college life. I'll talk about 2 students later on, and actually some of their successes that they had, partially due to the SWAT program.
So,
Go ahead.
the first thing to piggyback off the PD, when we initially went one-to-one, Carrie was the tech coach. I just housed the computer and internship because maybe I just really took a liking to technology, tried to incorporate it more in my classroom. But so I housed the kids, and she just came on an off and on basis to touch base with them, work with Google Ninja. The PD is really important because when we went one-to-one, teachers were like, oh, we have to use computers now. Well, how do we do that? So it was really cool because students like Ms. Sandhagen that were well advanced in technology, more so than teachers, came and led trainings. So these kids are extremely nervous right now, okay? And this is cool because they actually lead adults in different stuff dealing with technology, saying, hey, here's some different ways to go about, maybe similar things, but to help your instruction and practice go better. So that was really cool. We don't necessarily do that anymore with our SWAT members because of all the other trainings and the stuff they do in our district. So we have kind of taken away the PD side of things. Just again, a district shift, and we're really revisiting our PLC process. So that may be a question you might have later. But anything we go throughout this presentation, there's going to be breakout sessions. We're actually going to give you a chance to sit down with our students and ask any questions you want of them. So if you have any questions that you're starting to think about, these kids will be willing to answer those in a little bit here. So if you have any, make sure you write them down, or at least have them in your head. So. All right. Without further ado, I'm a big Space Jam fan, so put that picture up there. But we're going to introduce you to just a few of our members of the SWAT team. So we'll have them introduce themselves, say their name, and all that good stuff. So, you're going to hear first.
My name is Adriana Reeves. I've been in this since the beginning of this year, and I'm currently a junior.
My name is Hunter Canalo. I've been in SWAT for 2 years now, going on 2 years, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Jordan McGee. This is my second year in SWAT, and I am a sophomore.
I'm Brian Graves. This will be my second year in SWAT, and I'm currently a junior in high school.
My name is Joseph Markey. I've been in SWAT for 2 years now, and I'm currently a junior in high school.
We offer this program to high schoolers all 4 years of high school as well. So they can get regular high school credit for this, and then the hands-on experience that's extremely valuable in the real world workplace. So some of the software that we do, on the software side of things, we're kind of limited as to how much access we can give a student due to a lot of administrative restrictions. However, we do have them work in the JSS, which is the Jamf software system, or server, excuse me. And that's the management system that we use to manage all of our Apple devices, iPads, and MacBooks. We have, in our district, about 1,300 MacBooks and 650 iPads. So they get to help manage all of those. We just rotated out 80 2012 model laptops, and SWAT pretty much headed out all the imaging for all of those and distributing them to the classrooms that they go to. We also have the SWAT website. It's that link right there. You type that into a web browser, it should pop up for you. That website, we also have a lot of how-to guides on it. It's kind of a knowledge base to serve the district for a lot of frequently asked questions, or if there's kind of a lengthy process, so that way we don't have to repeat it every time to somebody as to how to do something. For example, one I've gotten a lot recently is how to set VLC media player to your main media player when plugging in a DVD. We just have a how-to guide set up on there with pictures and written out steps. We can just send that link to staff or students as to how to do that. And it makes things a little bit easier for us. So the SWAT team are the ones who manage that website.
So can they take this more than 2 years?
Yeah, they can take it all 4 years of high school.
Really?
Yep. Some of them didn't hear about it until their sophomore or junior year, and that's when they started picking it up. One of our kids actually only got to do it senior year. Another issue is scheduling. Since it's in their, they have 8 periods that they're allowed to schedule classes, and we offer all 8 periods of the day. They can come in and work in the technology office. Since freshmen and sophomores especially have such a compact schedule, sometimes they can't fit it in either, and so they have to wait till their junior and senior year. But we do offer it to them all 4 years.
Are you the tech coordinator then?
No, I'm not the director of technology.
Okay.
He's unable to be here today, but I'm the one that co-teaches with the class, and then they basically help me on the help desk. Yeah. Hardware repairs, it's going to be one of the breakout groups that we do here in a little bit, and so you can get way more information from the students on this. I'm just going to briefly cover it here. As I said before, we saved $35,000 by doing in-house repairs. That's a calculation of what it would be to send it to iRescue or iTech, which were the people that we were sending repairs to before. It cuts down on travel time, travel expenses to go to those places, or shipping expenses. It puts the opportunity into the student's hands. And again, pure total savings after paying for our own parts and our Apple Diagnostics server and all those sorts of accesses. $35,000 is what we end up saving. They also have, sorry, can you go back? They also have the opportunity to become ACMT and ACIT certified. Apple Certified Mac Technician is ACMT, and ACIT is Apple Certified iOS Technician. That's given to us by Apple. Since we're a self-servicing account, you have to go through their process for that. And then we get those set up on the diagnostic server in GSX and Atlas, and they go ahead and do those trainings. We don't require them to become ACMT and ACIT certified because those are very lengthy trainings. We do require them to do about a total of maybe 4 hours worth of trainings, mainly pertaining to our MacBook models that we have. We really only work with MacBook Airs and a couple of iMacs. But those resources are also available for them to look back on, either in the GSX on how to replace a part, or in Atlas on videos. It has a video tutorials in there for them to look at, so they always have that access to.
Okay, so help desk tickets. I don't know if you are a fan of The Office, but I am, so we're going to watch a little clip to kind of talk about that.
Hey, Michael. Jan called and asked where you're going to meet for dinner. She wants you to call her.
I'm a little busy right now. Could you BlackBerry me a message?
Sure. Michael doesn't know how to work his BlackBerry. So when he says BlackBerry me a message, he means write it on a Post-it note and stick it to his BlackBerry.
So when the customer makes an order, it gets emailed directly to the warehouse, and then a copy of the form goes to your inbox.
How do we build them?
You don't. The invoicing, the account reconciliation, and all the follow-up claims just go right to your BlackBerry.
So what do the accountants do?
Well, unless there's a real problem, client, nothing.
Okay?
So, help desk and projects, that's another topic that we're going to have covered in the breakout session too. We use a ticketing system called Spiceworks. Every student, every SWAT student is set up in that ticketing system so that way they can handle tickets, write their own documentation on there, and close out tickets as well. Them being able to help us out with tickets saves us a lot of time, especially for a district that's, for the past 3 years, only gaining devices every year, more devices to manage and have to maintenance. having the SWAT team on our side to kind of take some of that off of our plate significantly helps. As I said before, we swapped out computers that are 5 years old. Anything that was 2012 model, we went ahead and swapped out. SWAT team assisted with that as well. Installation of security cameras in the school. We just replaced all of our security cameras in the high school, and the SWAT team headed up that project as well. They went around, put the security cameras on the new ceiling tiles, took out the old ones, unplugged them, plugged them back in. The only thing that I had to do was configure it on the server side just by inserting the cameras into our new security system. So they did a lot of the legwork on that as well. We've had them run cable quite a bit, and they still help with professional development. It's only about once or twice a year. So.
Another thing too is the help desk process. Mr. Sandhagen can say, okay, this is something that like my SWAT team members can handle that like I don't need to be. So a teacher, and this has happened, comes and like puts in a help desk ticket and hit the power button. A SWAT member can go and assess it, and if it's something beyond what they can fix, then Mr. Sandhagen can be called in. So is time that valuable of what they can do for just teachers that some teachers get it, some teachers don't, and they can help out that way too. So that's.
It kind of allows us to have 3 tiers of support. Tier 1 being SWAT, Tier 2 being me, and then Tier 3 being the Director of Technology, Chris. And so it saves me and Chris a lot of time and throughout our day to have to go to those places. And that's actually happened, I think, 2 times last year, where somebody was complaining that their computer wouldn't turn on. One person didn't know where the power button was, and one person didn't know that they needed to charge their laptop. So, again, that's a nice thing about having SWAT.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is, this is the kind of breakout time meeting. We have a few people in here, so we're just going to kind of lump you into 3 groups. So we'll have you 2 here. If you can move back and just join that group of 3 and you 3 there. We're going to send SWAT members to you, and after about 5 minutes, we're going to rotate. They all have different topics to talk about. You can ask them any questions, but just in a small group setting. We felt that this would be a good idea. So we have Jordan. You're going to talk about what again?
Science works and my project I can do.
Help desk and projects. So why don't you stay right up here for right now? We'll rotate you. You guys are going to talk about the value of SWAT class, right? We'll send you in that back corner, and hardware repairs right there in that corner. So you guys will do a 3-4 minute rotation, and once we rotate, you'll just get a new view of what the SWAT members do.
Don't be afraid to ask me questions.
You can sit, it's okay. Make it in front of
As I said up there, my name is and some of the things we're talking about is like things we can get from the class and how it can benefit us. One of the topics we have to actually talk about is why we in the first place joined it. For me, I heard it from an upperclassman that really enjoyed it, and I'm like, well, I have some room in my schedule, so I'm kind of interested in it. I want to see what it is. So I have it 3rd hour now, and it's really fun. The first week wasn't so much because we had trainings and everything, but for the past couple of weeks, I've been able just to walk in and pick up a repair and work on it, and it's just kind of a laid-back environment, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a really fun class. Builds really nice relationships, friendships, you name it, really. It's really educational. You learn a lot about computers, how they run, what they're made of.
Some challenging tickets in there.
Next time.
Benefits like after school.
Last time?
You have classes.
Yeah.
When you are not taking care of the tickets, what are you doing?
Well, a lot of times we always have repairs to do. But if like, we're not prepared to do, then we like, who do like a project or something like maybe build a computer.
Yeah.
Or like,
Either fix computers or go out and do
I
something.
know you have
pretty much.
So, and this is a credit.
Yep.
What department? Is it one of your elective credits? Is it?
It's an elective credit.
Practical art? It's an elective credit. Interesting. Are you guys on blocks or how many classes are you
We have 9 class periods in a day.
There we go.
Yeah. I kind of wish we had blocked times or at least that way for SWAT. It's about 42 minutes each.
If you ever want to look it up later, it's called the MAC Resource Inspector.
Mac Research.
And once I finally get it done, I can turn it in on site first and give it back to the person. Or like I said before,
So how much training do you get before you start doing that kind of stuff?
He requires us to go through multiple courses such as customer service, parts part max, and multiple again, customer service. There's lots of there's all talk about diagnostics and how you get through that. Roughly,
Do you do that during class time, or is that before or after school, summer?
you can do it whenever you would like, but typically in the beginning we do it during class time. And after we get done with all those trainings, he trusts us with what to do.
It's the Apple team.
Also, going on to ACMT and ACIT certifications, again, they're not required, but they are a very big step in any direction. Because, again, if you're going for like an IT job, if you have this, it's a very good indicator that you have knowledge in any sort of technology.
I personally really enjoy the class. I think it's a good way to conserve money for the school. It all helps us learn more about technology. I have lots of fun working with others.
Progress we've made, if the repair's done, how many repairs we have done and complete.
So do you have to document everything you try on the machine then?
Yes, every day at the end of the hour.
So you guys.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
You too?
You stole my question. Thank you for asking that.
Oh.
I appreciate that. Because I have a SWAT team in my building and I'm trying to figure out how to continue to grow.
I'm Joe.
Nice to meet you both.
And we are here to talk to you about our repair process and some of the things we're undergo in Atlas training.
Yes, mainly do Apple repairs. In fact, our entire school uses the MacBook Air 13-inch 2013 model.
About our Atlas trainings, Sam will give us, a rough amount of trainings that we will have to undergo, such as customer service, how to run diagnostics, and other things, what parts go where, how to repair, certain orders you have to do it. I think it's a good source of learning. It's good stuff to go back to if you ever get stuck. Another tool that we use is GSX. GSX is one of my favorite tools to use whenever I'm stuck in anything. Because if you're unsure about a problem, you just put in the serial number, GSX, and it will run you through many questions as to whether did it work or not. It'll help you solve the problem a little faster and more efficiently.
So it's like a troubleshooting guide if you're trying to figure out what's wrong.
And I know other districts use different pieces of technology, but many of these districts also use Apple, so the Atlas trainings can be used to service other products that Apple has in store for them.
But as he said, ACMT and ACIT are not certified or required to be in this class, but I think it would be nice to take advantage of these opportunities.
Have I heard you started?
So far, no, it's been a little busy repair week so far, but whenever we get the chance, we typically try to do some. Sam here will inform us of certain trainings that we might have to do to get ACMT required.
Excellent.
So that's something that's an option if there aren't any repair tickets or whatever you can work on that day, then you could be working on your ACMT.
No, it's just
I personally think the class is very fun and enjoyable. It's nice to have some teamwork. Sometimes if you need help, you can ask for peers. Maybe they've been through the thing before. That, and I think it's a good way. It's a good way to save the school money and for students to learn.
Yeah, just kind of
So your schedule, is it if you have an open period, you can sign up for that class during that time? Or are there specific class times that are set?
Typically, we have first period. Typically, each class is roughly around 45 minutes. Right? So if you do have any open classes, you you can ask for a computer internship, and they'll do an interview and ask you. So, and if you have any hours free, then
you can be a part of that.
you can be part of it.
Is there a way that you had to, or felt you had to use to prepare for the interview? Did you know you had to have certain skills or questions that would be asked?
Certainly, I mean, you're signing up for something that's just like an internship. So, say you work for the school's tech department, but you're just doing it as a student as well.
So you're getting paid money, you get expenses for things such as ACL, CMT, such things like that. Better opportunities.
Do you have any perks beyond the certification piece? Like, do they provide you with a different computer? Do they provide you with different setups type things? Like, do you get to keep your whole one-to-one students keep their computers over the summer?
Typically no.
Okay, do you get to keep them over the summer?
Unless we get a summer job.
Okay.
Or I guess that's another thing we could also address, where for members of the SWAT team, they offer a summer job for help desks also. So that's also a good opportunity you can take advantage of. This time you're actually getting paid money.
Now, when you start out in your first year, you're telling you to go through more training or whatever. And so, do you work with another person then when you're starting out, like your first few months or whatever? Are you with another person as you're repairing computers and problem solving, or you do the training and you're on your own?
Typically, the way it's done is you would go through the training, and if someone
Let's try to rotate one more time.
If someone has gone through the training, if you're going to start your first repair, it is recommended that you do it with someone who's already been there to help you along the way.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you for your time.
I'm working with students and full-time.
Give it to me.
Thank you.
Hi there.
I'm Jordan.
Nice to meet you, Jordan.
Good to meet you, Jordan.
Good to meet you. Good meeting. So my topic was like the help desk tickets and project services.
Tell you about
So help desk tickets, do they come from both teachers and students? Then?
Yeah, they
Or more than one school?
Yeah, mostly from the students. Yeah, because all the accidents that happen, like spilling their drink on the computer or something.
I laugh because last year our teachers destroyed more computers than our students did. It was our first year at one-to-one. He had to replace 6 teacher machines versus no student machines.
Looking around.
So what do you think of SWAT tools? Is it easy, user-friendly? What?
I'd say it's pretty user-friendly. Because, what we do is, what we have is, it's pretty easy to do.
Okay, so can you create tickets, or is it only the email service that creates tickets? So if somebody comes to you instead of doing it the way they're supposed to, can you create?
Yeah, we create tickets. That's typically what we do for students. When students come in here, and then we'll create tickets and then print it off and put it on the computer.
What other kinds of projects have you done besides the computer repairs and things?
Well, last year we had a broken server that they let me let me go through and see what I could do with the server. Yeah, but yes, I think something was wrong with the motherboard on it. It just didn't quite work. But yeah, and then the other thing that we did, we had like a Mac that was kind of broken. So what we did, we took it, one of the students took it out, put a solid state into the computer, so we could just run a bit faster. We used a receptionist desk. Yeah. And then another project we did last year was someone built computers from scratch in the last period because we kind of ran out of tickets to do. So he was like, I want to do computers. So that's what they did.
So do you guys have a class that extend your knowledge? Like if you come in and help you do some training, do you actually have a class that will be easier if you only have computers like that or network training or something that enhances your knowledge?
You just made this
We take multiple courses. We can take multiple years, expand on the knowledge that we've already accumulated from previous classes.
So you pick from more of the training.
So
So do you get credit for this
Yeah, or we
class?
can like poke something
We do.
or ask about. Yes.
After you do your initial trainings, then do you have regular trainings that you all do throughout the year, or is it mostly just working on repairs and
we
ticket
just
switch
switched.
kind of things once you've gone through?
Our school kind of just switched
I don't think we could ever like rush out trainings
I
to
think
do
it's
it.
kind
Plus,
of
music was always adding things to do.
It used to
It
be
doesn't
12,
sound
so
like it, does it?
you're in for the whole year.
Have to do
I'm not
Yeah, the
because of my
adopted group.
contact schedule, but it's in contrary.
Yeah, a lot of times just learn from experience.
So unfortunately, I wish I had room to do it all year, but I just don't.
Right.
Do you ever work outside of school, before school, after school?
Yeah, you might tell you.
Do that, you can apply for
how
a
large is
job
Oelwein?
and actually add the tech
We are
office.
And he'll explain that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Involved.
400.
Yeah.
912. Okay. So you're about as big 912 as we are K12.
Okay, yeah.
You're similar in our
I'm checking out.
Yeah, but other previous question. We can spend a lot of time together. They do most of them.
So you're ceiling tiles and cameras all over.
Yeah, otherwise we could.
Ceiling tile crumble on
If
the
they,
floor
like,
in the
really,
tech office. That drove me insane, picking out pieces from my shoes.
Yeah, what's the funnest project you guys worked on?
Okay, if you could kind of wind down
Working on the cameras.
Yeah.
Me and another student in the class, they actually went around and pulled down the cameras and worked during the last period. I actually got to work behind the scenes with Sam in the office and like directing the cameras. So I thought that was pretty neat.
That's true. And you have Jody Steinbach.
Cool.
Yes, you do.
Jody Steinbach, secretary at Linville Sully.
Oh, wow.
Small world.
Shane still with you?
Shane, yes. Yeah, he's actually home with us.
Oh, I bet.
He
Just
texted
say,
me
I
last
usually
night. He
see
said,
it.
he was still working last night. His kids go to Linville Sully. He brings every day. And today he did and I get this text message about 8 o'clock that says, sorry, you're on your own tomorrow. I have a car full of vomit headed home. Like, oh, well, that sounds like fun.
Well, I'm doing no married. That's kind of.
Through these,
You think you guys have There you go. Awesome.
Okay, moving on here to the grading of the class. So this is my component in this whole grand scheme of things, which is like, so as far as technology is concerned, these kids know way more about any of this stuff than I do as an English teacher. I can run some functional stuff. I teach a video production class, so maybe as far as teachers go, maybe I'm more forward thinking with using technology. I do utilize it in the classroom. However, so with Mr. Sandhagen's position, not having a teaching degree, not able to assign grades, so it presents some different challenges, but it's really cool because of the co-teaching that we do. Because what better way, like, otherwise I would be trying to teach these kids, and there would be no chance they would already know all the stuff that I could even attempt. So having an expert and then working with me. So what we do for the class, and we just started it, is we're going to grade the class off of 21st century skills or the universal constructs. So meaning like communication, creativity, collaboration, flexibility, adaptability. So everything that they're going to experience in the workplace that we hear from employers, this is what we want, okay? They're going to get through this class. Now, you probably, as well as I know, these kids, that the jobs they're going to go into probably aren't developed yet, a vast majority of them. So they are on the cutting edge of everything. What they need is to be able to get up in front of adults in these situations now and communicate things and collaborate with each other, working to, hey, did you fix this issue? Like, what about this idea? Or try to run problem-solving groups, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're kind of in the process of developing rubrics for this, what it looks like, but they're going to have to show this knowledge. We kind of talked about this year. Our first quarter hasn't ended yet, but the first quarter is going to be all about training, so it's not going to really have a grade associated with it. But after the first quarter, then, okay, we're going to start looking at, can you show evidence that you collaborated with your peers, okay? Collaborated with teachers. And you just have to show that evidence. So we're in the process then, they will actually get a letter grade. Because before, it was just a pass-fail. Like when Mr. Sandhagen went through, it was just either, it was basically your warm body or not. Okay? Did you do the Google Ninja trainings or not? So now it's more applicable because they're actually getting a letter grade going towards their GPA or whatnot, but we're assessing skills that they're going to have the knowledge just because they enjoy the class, just because they enjoy working with what they do. But now, how can we make that better? Okay? And I was telling one of the kids before we got up here, was like, well, what's being up here going to help me with IT work and stuff like that? And I said, well, okay, stereotypically, okay, the IT guy sits in a cubicle, doesn't associate with the human world, and just fixes all these computer problems and thinks everyone else is maybe not as smart, okay? But doing things like this, and Mr. Sandhagen is so knowledgeable, yet has unbelievable social skills and dealing with teachers that don't know how to turn on power buttons. You're like, oh, well, here's the power button, and really nice, and not like calling them, names, whatever. So this is skills that they are getting through this class, which is so valuable that, I couldn't offer necessarily. I can a little bit in English 9, but this is something that they actually have that they can work towards something like that. So they go out, and it is treated as a job. Why we titled the class internship is the fact that they have to interview before they get to take the class. So as 8th graders coming in, they have to go through an interview process. So we're not going to just, take anybody. Okay, you have to meet. Now, we could be on like a probation period, right? Okay, so if there's someone that really wants to take it, they didn't do well in an interview. Okay, but it's not just where, you sign up for the class like it is in all other classes, and you get to take it. Because the responsibilities, because we're trying to teach these universal constructs, and our superintendent's on board, our high school principal's on board with this whole process, because now we have 30 kids in it, and that presents its own set of problems, okay? So that's kind of the grading class. That's my role, is constantly working with Mr. Sandhagen to kind of talk about the grading aspect, talk about what they're doing, and working with the kids in that area.
So you have no limits on who can take or how many can take the class?
Well,
we're kind of reaching our limit now, but we don't have a set limit.
Yep. So right here, just a quick video, again, from The Office.
Okay, I'm seeing some confused faces out there. Let me slow down a little bit, break this down. Okay. The more stickers you sell, the more profit, fancy word for money, you have to buy PlayStations and Beanie Babies, and products. The video is more of a question and answer. Well, okay, well, I'm just kind of getting going. Yeah, I know. Alright, okay, well, we can do questions. Okay, very good, first hand up.
So, as a company that primarily distributes paper, how have you adapted your business model to function in an increasingly paperless world?
We can't overestimate the value of computers. Yes, they are great for playing games and forwarding funny emails, but real business is done on paper, okay? Write that down.
So, just a little humor for that. Some problems on my side, and Mr. Sandhagen can touch on in the technologies, is the fact that our schedule, okay? So here's what it looks like for me. These kids, we have SWAT members assigned to a class every single hour in an 8-period day except for 7th hour. So what they do for me, I have to, because I have Infinite Campus, I have our grading system, they have to come in to my room, sign their name on the board so I can keep track of attendance. Otherwise, Ms. Sandhagen would have to call me every time so I can make sure they're there. So that's one issue. And it's a good problem to have. It's great that we have so many involved. However, our logistics with scheduling is a nightmare because we have 4 or 5 different groups, or 4 kids in each hour coming all the time to Mr. Sandhagen. So if he's got a big project that he's working on or something, he's got to make sure that he touches base and comes back to the tech office every single time that 40-minute bell rings. Okay? Or they're in there for a short time and then he shows up. But that in of itself is where we have to rack our brains. We've already started the problem-solving process, because if we have 30 kids, this is not, I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think our numbers are going to go back down to 5 or 6, because so many kids are interested in this area, at least at our school.
May I ask, do you have an extra plan because of this?
So, yeah. So I have a 5th hour, which is our lunch, that's assigned for the SWAT kind of kids or whatever. So what happens during that time is that what I'll do is I have the rubrics basically set up, so now all those 5th hours will be touching base to, I'll be looking at their evidence, how they're showing it, on top of my regular 8th hour prep that I have for my English classes. So it does, present where they, that's kind of my grading time, if you will, and I get to go down and talk with him during that time as well, so we can kind of touch base a little bit. So you can talk about some of the other.
So my biggest issue this year has been, we had 8 students last year, 3 of them left because they're seniors. So we had 5 return members, which means we had 25 new students. I believe 15 of which are freshmen. And so how do you train 25 individuals all at once? At first I did a lot of, I would stay late and create a lot of videos and have them go through the videos, take notes, and try and train them on all of our different tools that we use. And then also by using GSX, Atlas, all of those Apple training tools. That still wasn't sufficient in my opinion, and there's still more training that needs to be done. And that's something that we actually have to have a meeting on next week, I think, is when our administrators, myself, and Mr. Schauf are going to meet on that. Revisiting the repair process on a yearly basis. So as I talked to some of you about, our repair process when we first started did not work. And so multiple times throughout last year when we had a huge influx of repairs, computers were becoming 3 or 4 years old. A lot of batteries were going bad. A lot of screens were getting broken. And actually, since we stopped letting middle schoolers take their laptops home, repairs have gone way down. It's kind of nice.
So you had them take them home, now you don't?
Yes. Middle schoolers only. But that has worked in our favor too. It's slowed down on repairs and slowed down on how much money we need to spend on screens, especially.
Excuse me, are they also working in middle school or just the high school?
No, so all of the computers from the other schools in the district get shipped back to the high school. And we just go and pick them up and then bring them back to our repair center, so to speak. So we have to revisit our repair process on a yearly basis and kind of adjust it to however that year is. This year it was a new office space, so we had to kind of adjust it to now having 4 workstations. We need more storage space for all of our repairs, that kind of a thing. Communication between staff members, that used to be a huge issue. People would not document in SpiceWorks what was done to a computer, when something was actually done, when it was a finished product, or if they had the final touches that they still needed to do. Thankfully, we've gotten a lot better on that this year. But my first couple of years working with SWAT, that was a big thing. Also communicating with one another. As Mr. Schauf had said before, a lot of tech people like to just kind of keep to themselves and stay in their own little area. And so we did a lot of team building activities to try and get them to open up with each other, work with each other, and communicate. Say, hey, you've had this issue before, right? Well, do you remember what the fix was for that? And then they can also look back at SpiceWorks and also see what the specific process was, because they're supposed to document it that way. Sure. So we're running a little short on time, but I do want to tell you about Jacob Woodson and Travis Hoffman. Jacob Woodson was a senior, had only taken SWAT for 1 year, and we actually recruited him that summer as a part-time technician to work with us in the technology department to work on several projects, which then gave him a leg up when we went down to Kirkwood. he told me that all of his classes that he's taking at Kirkwood are super easy, and all of his computer ones especially, because he's been trained in it already. And then Travis Hoffman, he worked between his junior and senior year for us during the summer. He was a full-timer though. He got a lot of experience in that way, and was in SWAT for about 3 years. He was offered this last year, right before he went to college, the summer before he went to college, he was offered an internship with IBM starting at $15 an hour. And that's a pretty exciting opportunity. He said what really gave him the advantage there was being in SWAT for 3 years, and then also that summer internship that we hired him for. So that was a pretty cool opportunity also.
All right, last is we have our contact information. You're my favorite. So any ideas that you want to share with us, any questions, comments, our emails are there. The more we can learn and help, the better it helps us out as well. So, thank you guys very
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.